Very good evening to all of you, and welcome to today's session. So, let us. Glad all of you could come for the session. And right. So, good evening. I hope you can hear me and see my screen. And so, if all is good, then let's start off. Hi, Shrutika, Harsh, and there's so many others that are there. So, sir is joining in few minutes, and till then, I will start with the VRC part of the CAT, which has to be prepared. Hi, good evening, Karthik and Shravan, Krishan Mangal and Shrutika, Harsh, all of you. So, Ayush, good evening. So as I told you, Sharma sir is joining in a few minutes and 10-15 minutes. And then till then, I will start with the VARC portion. And once he comes, then he will talk about the QA LR. All right. So first of all, tell me how many are freshers and how many are retakers for CAT 22? So, I will talk about both, but we'll talk about a fresher perspective also, and from a retaker's perspective also. All right, so we have got around. Okay, hi Vishal, welcome, and Neeraj and Rajiv, Shubh and Jay, Rahul and Avinash, Amit, all of you. All right, so we have got a lot of freshers, and we've got retakers also who are there. So we'll talk about first from a fresher's perspective, and then from a retaker's perspective also, because many of you who are retakers might not have given your best in CAT 21, or maybe you had just prepared for a month or two and just gave it for just for a trial. So how many of you were like that? Tell me, amongst the retakers, how many of you did not give your best? I mean, you just gave it like that, or you feel that you had not prepared well. So right. So yeah, many of you just gave for trial or just for experience, right? As Raj and Harshvardhan and Sunit and Vishal, all of these people are saying. So, chalo, so let us start off with how to prepare and how to get the best out of your exam. First of all, the CAT exam is not like a university exam. It's not like a school or college exam in which the preparation has to be done at the last moment. You know, many people come to us and say we just want to prepare, we'll take a break in the last 2 months just before CAT. And we tell them that if you've not done your initial preparation, then just preparing for 1 or 2 months before the CAT, just like you prepare for your engineering or for your BBA or for your normal graduation, is really not going to help you. So CAT is a long-term preparation program. The minimum is 3 to 4 months, and the maximum can go up to 6 months to a year, to even up to 1.5 to 2 years. Now, for say a student who might not have, a good command over. No, we are not talking about spoken English, but we are saying that a student who is not comfortable reading a CAT level passage in English, that student will not be able to prepare, just in 1 or 2 months. You might be giving the mock test, you will get half right, half wrong. You might have solved my book also, but still it will not help. So first things first, the exam is of 2 hours, right? Which is the new pattern, as in we had in CAT 20 and CAT 21. It's following the same pattern. It's for 2 hours, that's 120 minutes. You've got three sections, 40 minutes each for each section. And in VRC, there are 24 questions, as you can see. Last year, we had 26 questions in CAT 20. And this year, in 21, they reduced the number of questions to 24. So in 40 minutes, you have got 24 questions. Normally somebody will say, oh, there's no problem, you've got enough time. But when you go into the CAT, what happens is that first of all, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just making a realistic, analysis of the exam. So don't get scared. People do qualify. People do very well. Even average and even under average students also perform. But then what happens is in the exam is something that you should understand. So what happens in the exam is that you you perform to around the 50% or 75% of your ability, because the timer is going on. You are in a new place, you are under a lot of pressure. There might be the invigilator who's shouting and talking like, and this time so many people reported me that to me that the invigilator was coming and taking signatures right in the middle of the exam, you know. So obviously if you are reading your comprehension and suddenly somebody says, oh, sign here, and the, so then your flow is broken, you have to read it again, you waste time, and sometimes you cannot get into that flow. So again you are reading and rereading. So that happens. So what happens that normally when you will give these mocks at home or in your institution, if you're going to offline coaching, you're comfortable in those places, and there is a perfect atmosphere for the exam. I mean, at home you'll tell your family that please don't talk and this and that, but in the exam what happens is that your efficiency decreases because of the pressure, because of those external things which are not in your control, to around 75% normally. And for a person who is a little more scared, their efficiency goes down to 50%. So therefore we talk about that it's a long term preparation process, because you have to keep conditioning yourself. We talk about a response that happens instinctively or naturally, and a response that happens out of habit. So you have to create a habit of being able to solve the questions in a very, very normal manner. For that habit to develop, you take some time. So therefore, all of you who are there in today's class, please don't think that I've got a lot of time. The time flies, and before you know, and this has happened with you last year also. Those who are retakers, you must have thought, "Acha, theek hai, I'll start preparing from May, June." When then May, June, something happened, your university exams or something, and then your July, August happened, and then you're like, oh, there's just 2 months left, or just 1 month left. Usme bhi the COVID thing is happening, and so many other factors. So the time flies. So start off your preparation. And now the next most important thing is how to prepare. So when you're preparing, your preparation has to be divided into two parts. One is your solving, which everybody does. Everybody knows also that you have to solve the questions. But the other thing which people miss out, especially in VRC, is that they don't work on their ability. And what is this ability improvement? So in this case, uh, in the case of ability improvement, what do you have to do? So in the case of ability improvement, there are two things that you will have to work upon. And those two things are reading, reading comfort. You have to be comfortable. So reading passages, reading articles, that is something that you have to become comfortable with. And you have to be comfortable with vocabulary. Because what happens, cat does not ask you the meanings of the word. But if you are reading something, and like I'll tell you, there's this passage on in cat this year's cat. There's a passage which we saw, and since the papers got released yesterday only, so we had a look at the passage. Now there was a passage on utopia and dystopia. Now, as soon as you hear these words, utopia and dystopia, and you don't know the meaning of those words, immediately your mind becomes blank, right? So, utopia actually means a very, very positive, perfect condition that is there. है ना? And dystopia is the opposite of utopia, which is an extremely negative state of deprivation or oppression or terror. So utopia and dystopia. Now, once you know these concepts, then wherever in the passage those dystopia and utopia are used, you know how to, you know what it is meaning and what it is talking about. But if you don't know, that one passage is out of the window for you, because it's difficult for you to, in that situation when you are in an uncomfortable atmosphere, it is difficult for you to guess the meaning and then start doing the reading. So, and first of all you will get very scared, I don't know this passage. So that is what you have to avoid. For that, you have to be very, very comfortable with the basic kinds of words that are there, and you have to uh, become comfortable with words associated with topics. Like, there are, so somebody is asking me, is word power made easy enough? No, Ayush, I am sorry, it is not enough for vocabulary. Why? Because you have to know contextual vocabulary. Word Power Made Easy is a very good book for vocabulary, but it is more to impress people and more to, you know, learn root words and groups of words. But individualistic words belonging to individual words belonging to particular subjects in particular contexts will not be covered in word power. And that is why word power only will be enough for 40% of what you are reading. So for the other part of your reading, first you will derive words from your in your normal passages and articles that you are reading, books that you are reading, you'll get words from there. And also words related to different subjects. Like there are particular words peculiar to different subjects. Now, tell me, uh, all of us have studied science in school. So this word inertia is a scientific word, which means what? When a body is in rest. And that is the concept of inertia. But if you and I are having inertia right now to start something, what will that mean? That means we are feeling lazy to start something. You know? So I'm having a lot of inertia to make a video for my YouTube channel. Means I'm like feeling lazy. I don't want to do it today. And in science, inertia is talking to, when we talk about Newton's laws of motion and we talk of law of inertia and law of motion. So then it is a state of being at rest. So in that case, what happens is that you'll have to, yeah, so I'll do the recommendations, not to worry, Tanishq and Harsh. So in this case, the kind of words, so first of all, diverse readings from different places. Best source is from where the cat gives you. So Guardian newspaper is one place which is a free resource. The cat gives you passages from there. The Economist magazine is the Economist. We cover a lot of readings in our Mindworkzz channel on YouTube also. That's for the free reading. And obviously for our students, we give month-wise Economist reading also. So Economist is another source. The Eon, Aeon. Eon is another source, which is a free source for people, and that from that the articles are taken. Also, what you can do is specific words related to subjects, so that you can pick out. Like you will see in philosophy, words like uh, metaphysics, ethics, these are very, very common words which are there always in philosophy and something related to philosophy. So now what is metaphysics? What is ethics? So ethics is a moral code of right and wrong or good or bad. You know, that is your ethics. And metaphysics is something which science can't explain, something which goes beyond physics, beyond science, means how did our soul come inside our body? What happens to the soul once the body dies? So those are the questions that metaphysics offers to answer. So these are, words very peculiar to philosophy. Similarly, the concept of psychology may ego, the concept of self, right? So that is a peculiar concept. So is tarah se what you can do is, and when you take economics, we demand, supply, sustainability, break even point, law of diminishing returns, marginal utility. These are very, very common, concepts of economics. So common concepts of particular words, particular subjects, that is something that you should be aware of. And these you will keep finding when you're doing your reading, or you can just check on Wikipedia. You can Google also common words related to particular subjects, and then start knowing what they mean. And then when you do your reading, at least you will have a basic knowledge of what that word means, and then you have to have contextual idea what that word means according to the passage. Like inertia ka basic meaning was at rest, and whereas inertia, when you're having inertia towards doing something, that means you don't want to change your position of rest. That means you're feeling lazy, you're feeling like procrastinating or whatever. So that's how you will do the contextual interpretation. So basic meaning जानना जरूरी है. So those of you are doing word power, you can continue it, but together with it, this subject based vocabulary. And then there are some, like if you have my book also, in that we have tried to put the must know words which will be appearing. There's some words which keep coming every time in your reading. They are, the basic words that you must know. So we have put 3 word lists in my book, which is high frequency words, medium frequency words, and low frequency words, which mean that these high frequency means these keep coming all the time. So in your normal reading, normal passages, which you must be knowing the meaning, otherwise you'll not be able to understand it. So kuch to must know words hote hi hain, without which your backbone of the language is not enough. So that you can do from my book. And if you have taken my book, then word power made easy, you don't need to do, because we have the root words chapter also in the book. So if you already have the book, that is enough. Together with it, आप ये topic wise reading or topic wise vocabulary जो है, please make sure that you do that extra. That you can get from Wikipedia and other sources. You can just Google them. So this is what you start off. You start off your reading and you start off with your vocabulary. So 10 to 15 words daily from the book. If you have the market book that we have written, the 9th edition is the latest. We are coming out with the 10th edition, which would be out sometime in May, June. If you have the 9th, it is good enough. It is up to date. So you don't need to worry. Anything older than the 8th or 9th will be slightly out of date. So that's there. So start off from there, and you're reading from the different websites like I was talking about, The Economist, The Guardian, New York Times, Los Angeles Times, and the Eon magazine, Prospect magazine. These are some of the magazines. These are some of the sites that you can go. If you are going to college, in the college library, Wall Street Journal is there. Economist magazine ka subscription is there. So you can do it from there if you have access to your college library. And those of you who are not studying, who are on your own, so you can do it from online. So that is also enough. ठीक है ना? Or Hindu editorials, a lot of teachers recommend, but Hindu editorial is good till IFT. Above IFT, in the CAT and ZAT, Hindu editorial is one level less. You can start off with Hindu if you don't have comfort in reading English, and then move on to these, you know, places that I have talked about. So you can mix and match. जैसे कि one article आपने 2 articles Hindu से कर लिया, one article from the Guardian, which is again free resource, one article from the Eon, which will be difficult, might not be able to read the whole thing, तो थोड़ा सा पढ़ लिया, and then start slowly increasing it. So that is how you will, start your work. And once you're a little bit comfortable, so this month of December, you should focus on reading and vocabulary. From January onwards, once you're a little comfortable, then you can start your solving of comprehension. And when you do your reading, you have to focus on a couple of things. What is the author talking about? Why is he writing this? Right? Who is he talking about? What is the timeline? These are the things that you have to keep in mind. Because, why is he talking about this? What is he talking about? This is what is your main idea. And main idea questions are there in CAT, it are there in ZAT, they are in comprehension very, very regularly. So main idea questions, almost 30% questions, 40% questions are related to the main idea. So therefore, वो आपने normal reading में start practicing that. Okay. So that is one thing you can start off with right from, today onwards only. And continue it. And then till October, November, please reading continue करना है for the whole year. उसमें थोड़ा सा जीके भी आप पढ़ लेना, करंट अफेयर्स भी देख लेना, so that for your GDPI etc you can improve. Okay, so which words you want me to repeat, Dravya? So Ayush, even if you are a repeater, देखो reading and vocabulary तो आपको करना ही होगा, because somewhere comprehending and understanding पूरा नहीं है तभी your percentile is less, or so this part is compulsory for everybody. Then if you have the book and you become comfortable in December with the reading, तो reading तो continue करना है, 4-5 articles every day. Together with it, you start off with your solving. Now solving में there are 4 chapters which are very very important in CAT, which one is reading comprehension, right? This everybody has to become comfortable in. So reading comprehension is there. Then you have got uh, parajumbles, and then you have summary of the paragraph, and the odd man out. So odd man out, which we also call as the irrelevant statement, the summary, and parajumbles. These are 4 question types which are coming regularly in verbal, 3 question types, and comprehension is coming in reading. Comprehension has always been coming. So these are the 4 question types right from CAT 16 to CAT 21. Last 5 years, your questions are based only on these. इसके अलावा then extra questions में you can do the paragraph completion, critical reasoning, fill in the blanks, and if you are giving XAT and IFT and other exams, then word level questions like synonyms, antonyms, odd man out, analogies, fill in the blanks. These kinds of questions you should focus on together with your. So since you're already doing vocabulary, synonym, antonyms and all ka solving up abhi se you can start solving, and make sure that you know the options ka bhi meaning, so that with one question you are revising 5 words, 4 options ka words, and 1 question ka word. So if you are even though solving 10 questions daily, you are actually revising 50 words. So that's how immediate improvement hone lagta hai vocabulary mein, and your solving can also start. So this is for repeaters also. So you can immediately start the solving if you have done your vocabulary work या थोड़ा बहुत कर चुके हो. And comprehension को 15-20 दिन reading करके then you can start off. You can start off with my book, level 1, level 2, and then the papers. Make sure that you are doing CAT papers, IFT papers, which are available. IFT papers around 15-20 years are available. XAT papers 20 years are available. Please do them. They are the original papers, and they really give you a feel of whether you are up to the mark or not. And the answer keys, original answer keys, are also there, so there is no confusion in that case. So make sure that you are working on those things. Okay, so this is basically something from my side that I wanted to talk about. And Sharma sir, I believe, is also with us now. So he will also come within a couple of more minutes. So till then, if you have any questions, so this is how you start your preparation. And so the first part, the first 3 months, is more working on ability and less of solving. From February onwards, 50% solving, 50% ability work. And February to April. April onwards, more on solving and giving mock tests, etc. And the ability work to आपका चलता ही रहेगा. That keeps going on. So that is how you divide your preparation process. Okay. Then giving mocks are also very, very important. So at least 30, 25, 30 mocks should be compulsory for everybody. And apart from that, the original papers. Give it timed properly as a test. So then you will actually know whether you are prepared up to the CAT level or not. And don't be, dishonest to yourself, in the sense that don't try to say that, okay, hum to yahi soch rahe the, I was thinking of that answer only. See, there is a tendency that we start being, to make ourselves happy just now, we start feeling, I was so confused between these two only, and I would have marked that only. But जबकि आपने wrong mark किया है. See, it is better to accept that you have marked it wrong and then work on why you marked it wrong. That point where you were confused between 2 options and you went for the wrong option is the point of correction. That is what each of you have to work on. And this is especially for repeaters who have already gone through the process once. Please start doing this immediately. That will really help you. What was missing in my understanding due to which I marked this? And what is it that is stopping me from, you know, going to this answer? This is what you will have to ask yourself and start working on that. Okay. So, okay, so I have got a few questions. So, any book or novel, Krishan Mangal? See, there is no one book or one novel. See, Cat will give you one page from any book or novel. So, you can read classic books, etc. But ये जो article reading I'm saying na, this cannot be compromised. Once in 2 3 years, Cat gives one page from a novel also. But that does not mean that you read only novels. Diverse reading of different topics. And what are the kind of topics you should be reading about? Economics, psychology, philosophy, art, literature, culture, then environment, science and technology, history, and a little bit of geography, wildlife, environment, all that. These are the topics that you should be reading about. From the sources, I have already told you: The Guardian, New York Times, LA Times, The Economist magazine, Eon, and we've got the Prospect magazine. Then you've got the Wall Street Journal, etc. And what you can do is last 5 years ka papers so available hai: 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Just Google the source of the cat passage and see do more readings from those sources. A lot of sources are from where I have told you. There might be some new sources also that you find. So do your reading from where the cat gives you. So just doing the Hindu or just doing one novel, per month or per week is not enough. You have to do from the cat sources. So novels भी आप कर रहे हैं तो थोड़ा सा difficult reading करिएगा, ठीक है? Because that is something which is important. All right. So Nadia, even if you're a beginner, you should. Now, this is a very good question that Nadia has asked, because this is applicable to a lot of people. Which subject would be great in starting off? See, I will give you a bad answer for this. Bad in the sense that you might not like what I say. You have to start with everything. I mean, everything meaning in English, as I told you, start with your reading and vocabulary. Quants B, you have to start together with it, and DILR also. See, many students come to me after the exam and they told me, or they came to me 1 month before the exam and they told me, ki ma'am, all the year round I was solving only quants and DI, and now what should I do for English? And frankly, if you ask me in the last month or 2 months before the CAT, I will say this: don't do anything, because it is not going to help you. So you have to start doing everything together. You have to allocate time. Just start giving some time for your quants, some time for your DILR. ठीक है, ये हो सकता है कि वीक में you are like reading तो आप रोज कर रहे हो, vocabulary रोज कर रहे हो, बाकी 3 दिन quants QA कर लिए, 3 दिन you are doing DILR apart from the English work. English work 5 days a week कम से कम कर लिए. So Nadia, that is how you should start. And not just Nadia, everybody who is listening. So that's what you'll have to look at. Okay. And those are some of the things that you have to focus on. And of course, there are so many other things. So Sharma sir is with us. Let me make him the organizer, and you will get a feel. So these were some tips that I wanted to share, and we will keep having these webinars and sessions, so not to worry. And I'll Sharma sir and I will keep coming. And we are there on the YouTube, we are there in Mindworkzz also, those who have already enrolled with us. We are going to be there with you all the time, but make sure that you just don't discuss with us, you do your work. And that is one of the last things that I want to say today, is please do your work daily and keep a checklist and mark every day: was today a positive day, did you do your work, or it was a negative day? So you might not find 2 hours together, so 15 minutes का 4 slot में reading कर लो, है ना? 4 slots में 15 minutes का reading कर लो, और 10 minutes morning and evening 2 times vocabulary के लिए दे दो, तो at least कुछ काम हो जाएगा, some work will be done. every day you have to do something for your work. That is very important. All right. So Guardian may a lot of sections are there in the homepage, Sunit, and you should there is the opinion section, definitely you should be doing. Apart from that, there is the technology section, there is the lifestyle section, there's the art and culture section also. So वो सब करोगे आप. Just keep exploring it. Okay. And yeah, so you should search for the words Sarbajit after you finish your reading. बिकॉज अगर हर लाइन पर आप डिक्शनरी खोलोगे या गूगल करोगे तो ब्रेक हो जाएगा फ्लो ऑफ थॉट्स, है ना. तो एक पैराग्राफ पढ़ के अगर बहुत सारे वर्ड्स हैं दैट यू आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड, देन 10 लाइंस पढ़ लो, सी द मीनिंग्स ऑफ द वर्ड्स एंड देन read those 10 lines again. That is how you go about it. Then short readings karo. Okay, 10 lines, 15 lines, 20 lines, and slowly start increasing. See, day one you will be very frustrated, but those who can actually continue the work for 20 days can go on. Those who leave the work in the first 15-20 days, they leave it always. So don't be the second type, be the first type. Okay. So Indian Express से नहीं होगा नकुल. आप देख लो इंडियन एक्सप्रेस से कभी भी कोई आर्टिकल आया है क्या? तो फिर जो नहीं, आपको अगर 10th का एग्जाम देना, आप 8th की किताब पढ़ोगे तो कैसे होगा? नहीं होगा ना. हो सकता है गेस वर्क से एक कुछ आ जाए कभी, और उससे ज्यादा तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला. So let us not be happy in our comfort zone. Let us do things that we are not comfortable. That is going to help you actually. Okay. So Krishan Mangal's newspaper, Guardian वगैरह newspaper ही है Krishan Mangal. So just start doing what I have told. Okay. And the QADI LS Sharma sir is here and he will start with you. So I'm handing over to him for now. Okay, thank you very much. Arun, are you there with us? And can you just unmute yourself?
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear me, everybody. Hello. I hope I'm audible and visible here to all of you.
Yes, you are.
Right, good. So I hope you got a clean short or clean idea about what to do in Verbal with Meenakshi ma'am. And I'll talk about quants, the data interpretation and logical reasoning, which are the key areas of your exam. So I'll be talking about this as you go ahead. And given the fact that we are in a 52-week, approximately 50-week situation, we're around 50 weeks before next year's CAT. So we'll be looking at it from that perspective. And so let me just start sharing my screen. Just give me a second. Just opening my whiteboards, etc. Right. So the big question is about quants and also about data interpretation and logical reasoning. That's what everybody wants to know from me. So and of course maybe we'll also talk a little bit about the fact that if you are if you are already out of college, and also if you're in college, what you should do to improve your profile, etc. as you go ahead with your CAT prep during this year. So can you all see the screen now? Right, so you can all see my screen. Right, good. So quants, if you go back by the structure of my quants book, if you go by the structure of the quants book, quants I have divided into 6 blocks. Right, quants has been divided into 6 blocks, and the respective blocks are block 1, block 2, 3, block 4, block 5, and block 6. Block 2, 3 is the complete arithmetic part. Block 1 is the number systems and progressions part. Block 4 is the geometry and mensuration area, also coordinate geometry. Block 5 is functions, logs, equations, and inequalities. And block 6 is where you do a permutation combination, probability, and set theory. So these are your areas. And typically, if you look at the normal structure nowadays, you have around 45% of your questions coming from here. So if it continues to be a 22 question exam, you can expect between 9 to 11 questions, 45-50% questions from block 2, 3. So obviously this is the most critical part of the CAT. This is the most crucial part here. Block 1, number systems and progressions. This gives you between 2 to 4 questions. Maybe sometimes upper limit is 5 questions. Right, so 2 to 5 questions आजकल इस पे आ रहा है. So this is number systems and progressions. Geometry is also between 3 to 5 questions. Geometry is also between 3 to 5 questions that you will see in the exam. And then the second most important area, second most critical area is this block 5, which will give you somewhere between 5 to 8 questions. And permutation, combination, probability, and set theory. ये मिला के तुमको quant section में maybe 2-3 questions मिलेगा, but set theory is also an important component of logical reasoning. So we'll have to do, or we'll have to take care of set theory from that angle also. So its importance actually goes up drastically because of its presence as almost a consistent presence in the logical reasoning DILR part. So this is the basic outline. Of course, portion to tum log sab jante hi hoge, and most of it is obviously well documented in my book. But if I look at what you need to do, I mean, see the process. I mean, you have to make sure that your preparation is process oriented. So there's a process that takes you from a certain percentile to a certain percentile. So what will happen, each one of you will have a starting skill in each area. So that starting skill might be, I mean, if this is the CAT level skill, let's say, or a 99 percentile skill level on that area, your skill level might be just below it, might be a little bit below it, might be significantly below it, or might be really below it. So please understand one thing as we start discussing CAT prep. Obviously, the journey this guy will have to take will be different from the journey this guy will have to take, will be different from the journey this guy will have to take, and will be different from the journey this guy will have to take. So obviously, this journey will be the longest. But the point is that everybody can reach this point, and not just reach this point, this level, but also cross that. And there's a process that you will have to follow in order to be able to get to the point. Ultimately, when you're preparing for quants, or in fact, even when you're preparing for data interpretation and logical reasoning for the CAT, even when you're preparing for the data interpretation and logical reasoning section for the CAT, what is the objective of preparation? So let's be very clear about the objective of preparation. So what is the objective of preparation? The objective of preparation, as you start off your preparation in each of these areas, The objective essentially is should be very clear. The object should be that if you're studying arithmetic, with what objective you're studying arithmetic? You're studying it with the objective that exam में जब question सामने आएगा, there'll be a question in front of you in the exam. You should be able to read the question, and from the question you should be able to do the 3 or 4 steps required to get to the answer. Your mind should be able to have the process and should have the logic to get to the answer for that question. And hence when you are training yourself for any of these are the 3 solving areas of the CAT: quants, DILR. Verbal is not a solving area. Verbal is more about ability to understand and answer the questions which are specifically asked. But quants, DILR is the solving area of the exam. So the solving skill basically depends on how qualitatively good your steps are. First of all, do you know the steps? If you know the steps, do you have multiple ways of doing it or a single way of doing it? So obviously in CAT questions, what you'll see is the first step of the journey. As far as you don't have these steps. So if I give you a question and you don't have the steps to answer this, suppose I tell you x squared minus 3x plus 6 divided by x squared plus 5x minus 7, and I ask you for how many integer values is this greater than 0. So either you have the reaction to it or you don't have the reaction to it. So the first step to this to learning mathematics or to learning quants or DILR is to actually have at least one way to do it. Find one method to do it. Understand that method and get to that method to the point where you can execute it yourself. That's the first step to any chapter, to any question type. And once you have a single method and you are standing on a comfort level with the ability to execute that single method, then you start looking at your next step of the journey is you start creating alternative methods to do the same question, alternative ways of thinking to do the same question. So you might be able to find three methods to do a question. You might be able to find 6 methods to do a question. I show questions जहाँ पे 5-6 methods भी हो सकता है solve करने का. So your process of preparation needs you first, once you're standing solid on one method, कि चलो मेरे को एक रास्ते से तो आता है ये करना, तो उसके बाद तुम्हारा research on the topic will become understanding 3 ways to do it. The research will become understanding and creating three methods to do it. And then once these methods are organized, making sure that these methods become yours so that they strike you in the exam and you're able to execute. So one thing which is a tragedy in the CAT is you will see everybody. I mean, just CAT has just happened 2 weeks ago, and you'll see a lot of people who took CAT. They knew a lot of the questions but could not execute it there. They did not see it there. So the last part of the preparation, once you have developed the multiple method, is to get those methods practiced to the extent where no matter how much pressure there is, your reactions will work. Otherwise, your reaction should not fail. And this is one of the aspects of preparation that people don't prepare for. Right? This is one aspect of preparation that people don't prepare for. कि मेरे reactions work करेंगे क्या under pressure. Please remember one thing. कि अगर ये तुम्हारा mind है, this is your mind. तो CAT में, inside the CAT, you have to remember, inside the exam, only this part of it will be available to you. You will not have the entire mind to be available to you. Right? So Diksha, are you guys able to hear my sound? Diksha says she's not able to hear any sound. So I think I'm audible, otherwise everybody would have been talking about this. So ये तुम्हारा process है. Now obviously ये process जो है, thanks everybody. Obviously this process of preparation cannot go through in one round. Specifically, ठीक है, I mean, if this is the CAT level skill and you are here, you study a chapter, let's say arithmetic के chapters क्या है? What are the arithmetic chapters? The arithmetic chapters that you have are chapters like averages. Let's say we talk about this chapter, the chapter of averages. Machine is hanging a little bit. So suppose we talk about the chapter of averages. So somebody whose skill on the chapter of averages is close to the 99 percentile cat level. If he studies this topic for 1 week, spending around 20-25 hours in that week on the topic, 1 week maybe 10 days, अगर एक हफ्ते में 25 घंटा नहीं पॉसिबल है तुम्हारे लिए तो 10 days में मान लो 25 घंटे का तुम प्रिपरेशन कर लेते हो over 10 days. Let's say you spend 20 hours on this, so somebody who's here will definitely cross over, but somebody who's here might not cross over, and somebody is here, so this guy might just be falling short after that. After this 25 hours, his skill level might just be falling short of this, whereas somebody else might be still far off. So this guy is close to the skill level required. This is 99 percentile skill. This guy is close to the skill level required as a starting skill. This guy is decently away, far away. This guy is very far away, and this chap is completely very distant. तो एक वीक में अगर आप एवरेजेस पढ़ते हो 20-25 घंटे देते हो, उसमें क्या करना है वो उस पे मैं आ रहा हूँ, बट आई एम ट्राइंग टू एक्सप्लेन द प्रोसेस टू यू. तो मे बी दिस गाय विल बी इक्विप्ड. इसके पास नॉट जस्ट मेथड 1 रहेगा फॉर मोस्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस, इसको मेथड 2 मेथड 3 भी दिखने लगेगा. ही माइट नॉट बी एन एक्सपर्ट इन मेथड 2 मेथड 3, बट उसको मेथड 2 मेथड 3 कुछ क्वेश्चन में दिखने लगेंगे. इसका क्या होगा? इसका ये जो आई मीन दिस इज distant. This person's skill level is very distant from the required skills. This person is far from the required skills. This person is at a average distance from the required skills, and this person is close to the required skills, right? So when you think about this, about the growth, अब 25 घंटे अगर तुम एवरेजेस पढ़ते हो तो इस बंदे का 25 घंटे में थोड़ी होने वाला है. ये तो डिस्टेंस से फार आएगा. तो उसका 3 पार्ट्स ऑफ द जर्नी अभी बचा हुआ है. इसका एक पार्ट ऑफ जर्नी और करेगा तो यहाँ पहुंच जाएगा ये. ठीक है. I mean, of course, it also depends on how big your arrows are, how much you are learning every time you go about it. So what you need to do is you need to come back to every chapter multiple times. Now, so इसका जर्नी अगर 60 hours है इस चैप्टर का, और इसका जर्नी अगर 40 hours है, और इसका जर्नी अगर 30 hours है, और इसका जर्नी अगर 20 hours है for average, so obviously this guy will have to give more time. And let's say these are 4 people, A, B, C, D. Right? तो मोर टाइम देने से क्या गारंटीड हो जाएगा? द आंसर इज नो. और मोर टाइम कैसे देना है? यू स्टडी एवरेजेस टुडे. So let's understand this factor. How did this guy how did this guy reach this point? कि उसका starting level in thinking on averages is the same. जब तुम लोग सब लोग क्लास 5 में पढ़ रहे थे, एवरेजेस पहले बार पढ़ाया गया था, तो ए बी सी डी सब साथ में थे क्लास में, और ए को भी उतना ही समझ में आ रहा था जितना बी को आ रहा था, जितना सी को आ रहा था, जितना डी को आ रहा था. But what happened with A was maybe he practiced a little bit more during that time, etc. So what has happened is that the thought has already got embedded, because of which his starting skill is closer to the required skill, right? With respect to B and with respect to C and with respect to D. I'm not necessarily saying that A is the best of the lot, because there might be a guy E, who's already starting here at this level. So it is possible that there's a person E whose starting level is there. It's possible that he's already above 99 percentile. और A को 20 घंटे लगाने पड़ेंगे ताकि वो E के लेवल पे है. Right? So this is very similar to, I mean, I think you can analogize this to, suppose मेरे को दिल्ली पहुंचना है, तो मैं नोएडा से अगर दिल्ली जा रहा हूँ, Delhi, suppose I have to reach Connaught Place in Delhi. So if I'm going from Noida to Connaught Place, the time required will be less. If I'm going from Meerut to Connaught Place, the time will be slightly more. If I'm going from Lucknow to Connaught Place, the time will be even farther. If I'm going from Kolkata to Connaught Place, the time will be even farther. So I have to understand the fact that, and unfortunately, while testing systems and at Mindworkzz, we have a very strong starting testing system. Apart from our mock tests, we have a very strong starting testing system that helps you identify कि तुम्हारा distance कितना दूर है from each area, right? But तभी भी वो thermometer की तरह तो measure हो नहीं सकता है. It cannot be measured like a thermometer. So the way it has to be done, the way it has to go, has to be this, that you have to be ready for multiple rounds on averages. So what happens? Suppose हम लोग इस तरह से, I mean, journey to Delhi CP में तो इतना ठीक है कि ये 60 घंटा दे देगा तो पहुंच जाएगा, ये 40 घंटा दे देगा तो पहुंच जाएगा, ये 30 घंटा hours दे देगा तो पहुंच जाएगा, ये 20 hours में पहुंच जाएगा. But this is not like that. There's a difference. If this guy gives 60 hours कि मैं average में 60 hours बिताऊंगा, so this is a learning issue. So 60 hours बिताऊंगा तो एक point के बाद उसका learning stagnate कर जाएगा. So what has to happen is when you go into round one of a topic and you spend those hours with that doing three things. You spend the time doing three things. When you enter round one of a topic, you spend the time doing three things. You study the theory. ठीक है? You study the theory. One. Two. You go through a certain amount of assisted problem solving. That means you either watch or you read 50 questions, 100 questions, the amount of questions you need, you watch or read the solutions to 25, 50, 100 questions. How do other people solve these what are the kind of questions, and how do the other people solve these questions? For example, if you go through my books and you are doing it from my books only, not taking coaching, then the assisted problem solving is happening in the solved examples. Every chapter has solved examples before the exercises. So the solved examples are giving you the assisted problem solving. So you might need somebody again, depending on whether you belong to A, B, C, D category. We don't know whether you need 25 or 50 or 100 questions for assisted problem solving, or maybe 200, more than that also. I've seen people who जिनका 100 question assisted problem solving के बाद भी उनको समझ में नहीं आता, they still have to work further, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that even if you're starting from Kolkata, or even if you're starting from Bangkok or Australia, as far as you keep going, you'll reach the destination, right? And the third part of this is where, so ये दोनों तो तुम consume कर रहे हो, theory consume कर रहे हो, assisted problem solving में थोड़ा सा तुम खुद try कर रहे हो, लेकिन mostly अगर नहीं हो रहा है तो तुम solution देख रहे हो कि टीचर ने क्या बताया, बुक में क्या लिखा हुआ है, कैसे solve करना है इसको, you're watching solution. But please understand that the most important component of each chapter, every chapter that is part of this journey, and in fact even data interpretation and logical reasoning, the skill turnaround happens, happens only when you do what can be referred to as self problem solving. This is the only thing, and in this I don't want any assistance, because if I am taking assistance, if I pick up a question bank for self problem solving, Suppose you define that you are using my book as self-problem solving, as the self-problem solving questions. People who join Mindworkzz, we ask them to do my book as self-problem solving, and we also ask them to do our assignments. We have a set of mandatory assignments which we ask them to do as self-problem solving. Right now, your ability. I mean, if you look at your objective is exam में question average क्यों पढ़ रहे हो? एग्जाम में एवरेज का क्वेश्चन आएगा और मेरे से सॉल्व हो जाना चाहिए. उसके जो 3 स्टेप चाहिए वो मेरे को एक रास्ता तो आना चाहिए इसको सॉल्व करने का. ठीक है ना? I should be able to get to the answer. That's why you're studying the topic, right? और ये ability to understand this and the ability to execute this under pressure only happens through this. So unless you focus on your self-problem solving, so every chapter, the process in round 1 will be do the theory, you do the assisted problem and solving, and then you pick up a set of questions which you say that I'm going to solve this here. और ये तुमको इंडिकेशन देगा when you go into self problem solving, ये तुमको इंडिकेशन देगा तुम A में बिलोंग करते हो कि B बिलोंग करते हो कि C बिलोंग करते हो कि D बिलोंग करते हो. बिकॉज जब तुम थियरी पढ़ के असिस्टेड प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग करने के बाद सेल्फ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग में आते हो तो तुम्हारे साथ कोई जरूरी नहीं कि तुमसे हर क्वेश्चन सॉल्व होगा. You'll have different experiences. Some questions will go through very easily. Some questions will go through with after a struggle. You'll have to struggle, but you'll be able to get them through. Some questions में तुम्हारा हो रहा होगा लेकिन फिर लास्ट में स्ट्रगल होके नहीं हो रहा है, कुछ फंस गया क्वेश्चन में. And some questions you'll have no idea. कुछ करने का समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या करना है. You'll have 4 reactions to every question. And obviously, people who belong to D or C will have more of these two. And people who belong to A will have a lot of this. And people who belong to B might have a lot of this and this. So the proportions will differ, right? And that shows you कि okay, I mean, देखो ultimately bottom line क्या है? अब जैसे average की बात कर रहे हो, since I'm talking about average chapter, if I'm talking, let's say the student X comes to me and asks me कि मेरे को average में और कितना काम करना है. So my first question to him will be, have you solved LOD1, LOD2 and LOD3 of averages? And have you solved it on your own? And have you been able to solve 100% of these questions through self-problem solving? So if the guy answers yes, the day this guy answers yes to me, maybe after 1 round, maybe after 4 rounds of preparation, that day I can tell him that you can close averages. Just close the chapter. And once you close the chapter and you say कि इस chapter पे मेरे को और कोई काम नहीं करना है, उसके बाद जो follow-up work है उसका, वो mock test में कुछ natural. When you do your mocks, and you have to take around 35 mocks at least. If you can plan 50-60 mocks, that's better. So when you take your mock tests, when you start taking your mock tests and your chapter is closed, so mock test में कुछ questions आएंगे. Suppose we are talking about a chapter, and every chapter will have this process. और ये process तुमको 20 chapters पे simultaneously run करना है for your quants. So average chapter पे अगर mock test में questions आएंगे, you'll keep getting, if you do 35-40 tests, you might get 60 questions on averages in mocks. And these questions you'll see will be really high quality. And once the chapter is closed, you just focus on knowing all the questions that you experience in whatever mock series you are following. Plus, apart from inside the mocks, you also look at the previous year questions of CAT. And this is an important aspect, that the previous year questions of CAT should be looked at only after you close your preparation on the topic, not before that. Right? So for Mindworkzz students, we say कि okay, average melody 1, 2, 3 कर लिया, self problem solving से किया कि नहीं, और mandatory assignments कर लिया कि नहीं, और उसको भी self problem solving से कर लिया कि नहीं. So we guarantee almost for every student, we guarantee that if you can do this much in self problem solving, if you do this much in self problem solving on the topic, you can close the topic. Also, this is maintenance of the topic. So PYQs ध्यान नहीं देखना है. You don't have to look at PYQs during your first round, second round. PYQs has to be seen in August, September, because PYQs gives you a very important element of measurement. it gives you two important elements of measurement. One is when you do PYQs, it's definitely practice. It helps you practice. So if you do PYQs here also, it will help you practice. If you do PYQs at the start, it will definitely help you practice. But PYQs is also a very important diagnostic tool, because अगर मेरे को ये measurement मिल जाता है कि मेरे को previous year questions of CAT में एक भी question में दिक्कत नहीं हो रहा है, तो then my closing the chapter is confirmed. नहीं तो अगर मैंने चैप्टर क्लोज कर दिया ये करके, मैंने चैप्टर क्लोज कर दिया ये सब करके, और यहाँ PYQs में दिक्कत होने लगा, तो मेरे को फिर वापस रिविजिट करना होगा. और रिविजिट जब करूंगा तो जो existing questions solved, when you revisit a topic, you go back to the existing questions. You do two things. You either go back to the existing set of questions, or you pick up a new set of questions, new additional set of questions. So these two things you have to go back to when you if you need to go back. So this PYQ will give you the final confirmation, because एक general thumb rule समझ लो, मेरे को अगर 20 साल के कैट के पेपर में एवरेज में प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो रहा है सॉल्व करने में, तो मैं उतना अनलकी आदमी नहीं हूं कि इसी साल के पेपर में 2 क्वेश्चन एवरेज के आएंगे और मेरे से सॉल्व नहीं हो. राइट? सो मेरा स्किल बन गया है if this is a go ahead. So the problem with using PYQs in your starting point, and this is one problem that I see across the country. One problem I see across the country, everybody, all teachers, all institutes, everything, PYQs तो first 3 months में पढ़ा देते हैं. And that's, I think it's a travesty of justice to the students, because यहाँ पे closure कैसे confirm करोगे? Mock tests में question quality वो नहीं होता है. Most often the mock tests are tougher than the actual CAT. The questions in the mocks are always normally tougher than the actual CAT. So mock test को अगर तुम diagnostic की तरह use करोगे, it will always give you indication कि और करना चाहिए. I am here to tell you the shortest path, or people like me are there to tell you the shortest path to get there. So थोड़ा extra कर लो, वो तो factor of safety तो हमेशा रहता है हर चीज में. थोड़ा extra कर लो तो थोड़ा safe हो जाओगे. But you have to try to be precise, because if you can avoid the thoda extra and averages and do it on some other chapter or some other portion, some other section, it might make the difference of life and death for you in the exam. So this is the process. So what am I suggesting then? Okay, what am I suggesting then? What am I suggesting then? What do you do? Round 1, when you go into your you define your self problem solving question bank. Which is your self problem solving question bank? Usme, if I was in your place, Arun Sharma was teaching me, I would tell him, please don't disturb me. This is my personal challenge to solve this question bank. Right? I'm not going to take interference from you. Jitna interference, the more interference you want, do it in theory. Teach me theory as much as you can. Give me assisted problem solving. Bring out questions from your sources. Give me assisted problem solving. I might need, as I said, A might need just 25 assisted problem solving to be ready to tackle the self problem solving question bank. D might need 200. There might be a person F who might need 300 also. So our Mindworkzz system recognizes this, and we give all these versions because we have a system where multiple teachers teach the topic multiple times, coordinated with each other. Not maybe we padha and somebody else is also teaching the same thing, and third person is also teaching the same thing. So we have great depth in assisted problem solving in our system, so that if somebody can just follow one teacher, somebody can just follow my classes. In my classes, you'll get 25 to 50 assisted problem solving on every chapter. And then apart from this, the 5-6 other teachers who teach along with me at Mindworkzz, if for people for whom this is not sufficient, they can go ahead and do those classes and take as much assisted problem solving as they need, so that they're equipped to do the self problem solving at this point. So that they're equipped to do the self problem solving at this point, right? Because if your mind is not strong enough to be able to do something, how do you come back? I was thinking about my motivational session today, and I will give you a brief peek about that. What I wanted to talk about was I was talking about this a couple of days back in one of my classes, that in the context of the fact that everybody nowadays is about shouting out loud. The louder you shout, the more people listen. And there's a very beautiful statement which says that it says that if you want to get your argument through, don't raise your voice. It's about rather than raising your voice, improve your argument. So similar to that, if parallel to that in your problem solving, is that if you are trying to do a problem and you're not able to solve it at this point, come back to the problem after getting stronger. Go back and come back and get stronger. I mean, I'll give you an analogy. Suppose you tell me, I go to a, let's say, weightlifting arena, and I'm there for the first time in my life, and I start saying, I want to pick weights. And I want to pick 100, 200 kilos of weight in a clean and jerk fashion, right? And I try it right now, and I can't lift the bell, the barbell. ऐसे नहीं उठता है. When I try, I see that I can lift 50 kgs, but I can't lift the 80 kg, 100 kg, and 120 kg weights. And my objective is to be ready to lift the 120 kg weights. So what should I do? Should I take assistance? Coach, come, you lift it with me. Will that help me? Will that solve my problem? I want to go into the competition and lift 120 kgs. So I call the coach, तुम उधर से हाथ लगा दो, मैं इधर से हाथ लगाता हूँ, उठा लेते हैं साथ में. Will that work for me in my objective? Obviously not, right? So what should I do? This is the answer to the question that Chetan is also asking. कि सर अगर हुआ ही नहीं तो question तो क्या करें? Right? If you can't solve the question, what do? The answer is, if your argument is not getting through, the answer is improve your argument. If your question is not getting solved in the first round, the answer is get stronger and come back. Get stronger and come back. Get stronger in your solving processes and come back to that question. So that's one of the reasons why you have to plan at least a minimum of 3 rounds. Even for the guy who's close to the 99 percentile. Even for the guy who's close to 99 percentile. Let's say one round takes you over there. So crossing 99 percentile doesn't mean you're sorted. तुम्हारे बाप बैठे हुए हैं जो तुमसे डबल क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते हैं 100 परसेंटाइल पे. Don't you want to get closer? And what you should do is between rounds, you should, I mean, theory एक बार ही पढ़ना है. You just have to study theory only once. That's only in round 1. And most of your assisted problem solving is in round 1 only. Right? So round 2 can comprise of a little bit. You might say, okay, and round 1 and round 2 has to be a minimum 30-day period between round 1 and round 2. So you, in your preparation process, you have managed 20 chapters such a way that, let's say, week 1 of your preparation, you might be doing averages round 1. Week 2 of your preparation, you might be doing allegation round 1. Week 3 of your preparation, you might be doing percentages round 1. Week 4 of your preparation, you might be doing profit and loss round 1. Week 5 of your preparation, you might be doing time and interest for round 1. And you might also be doing in week 5 of your preparation, you might also be doing average round 2. Week 6 mein, you might continue average round 2 along with a chapter of ratio proportion. Right? So round 2 mein kya karna hai? I told you round 1 mein there will be a natural breakup of your questions. These 4 kinds of things will happen to you inside the questions in round 1. Question solved easily, question solved with a lot of twists, question that got you twisted but you couldn't end up with solving it, and question in which you had no idea. So when you come back to round 2, you come to all these 4 question types. You redo these. You redo both of these. And these will strengthen the processes that got you through the question. And this will also, when you redo them, when you solve them again a second time, when you solve them again a second time, when you solve them again a second time, this will solve your problem of also having multiple methods to do it, because your mind will automatically start showing you the methods. There will be methods in which you start solving mathematically and algebraically, and midway through the question, you leave the algebra and go numerical. So those kind of things will keep happening here in round 2. Okay? So I'll talk about LOD 1, 2, etc. Which ones you should do in which round. But typically round 1 should be LOD 1, 2 only. And they go, if you are truthful, your self-problem solving question bank, you don't need to solve more than 250 questions averages to be ready for CAT questions. So, but provided you are able to take out the learning out of this. So even for a student for whom round 1 was like this, suppose there's a student for whom round 1 was like this, I still recommend a round 2 where he does this. I still recommend a round 2 where he does this. For people, normal people, this will happen. These 4 reactions will happen, and you go and try these questions. And because the benefit when you did round 1 of a topic, your mind started thinking better on that topic. It started getting stronger, and that those ideas and those reactions, once they entered your mind in round 1, what the passage of time did, 4 weeks of passage, what it did for you was it allowed those ideas to start becoming yours. It allowed your ideas to start becoming those ideas to start becoming yours, because those ideas started getting deeper into your head. They started getting deeper and deeper into your head. So once your ideas start becoming deeper into your head, that's when they become your natural ideas, and then you'll be able to think the next ideas there. Which is why, as I said, if D says ki I'll give 60 hours on average, the round 1 don't work. You have to keep your individual rounds on a topic limited to around 20 hours. That includes the theory, the assisted problem solving, and the self problem solving, which then means that an individual question you should not try for more than 10 minutes. You should keep a 10-minute time limit to decide whether this question is going into which category for me. 10 मिनट में अगर नहीं हो रहा है कुछ, you put it into this category. 10 मिनट का टाइम फ्रेम तुमको छोटा लग रहा है, 15 मिनट का टाइम फ्रेम कर लो, but not more than that. Otherwise, what will happen is you're going to be very, very frustrated. Because what will happen is, if you're going to find these kind of questions at the start of your exercise, तुम सोचोगे 3 घंटा बैठ के मैं averages का खत्म करता हूँ, और तुम देखोगे question 6 पे हो, because question 2 पे 40 मिनट लग गया तुमको, और question 3 पे 50 मिनट लग गए, और 1, 4, 5, 6 पे you took 15 minutes each. तो 3 घंटा तुम्हारा खत्म हो गया, तुम थक भी गए, और पता चला कि 6 क्वेश्चन ट्राई किए जिसमें 3 क्वेश्चन नहीं हुए और 3 क्वेश्चन हुए. So you'll start getting very frustrated. Next time तुम बैठोगे नहीं प्रिपरेशन के लिए. So round 2 में what should you do? You should redo whatever you have done. You should try these questions. You should assess whether you need to. You should also try to assess whether you need to do an additional questions. Right. So additional questions उसके लिए recommended होगा जिसका round 1 was में ये numbers low है. If these numbers are just 10% after round 1, 10%, 15%, then for those students I would recommend कि round 2 में you should pick up new questions also. So you pick up a new exercise or a new assignment which you're picking this up. But if this is 40%, 50%, कि 40-50% नहीं किया है, इनके क्वेश्चन नहीं हुए, तो पहले इसको ही कंप्लीट करने में राउंड 2 जाना चाहिए. न्यू क्वेश्चन नहीं ऐड होना चाहिए बस. Right? Of course, for somebody who's had this experience, or somebody who's got this experience plus this experience, 90% of it is this experience. redoing all the questions you did is definitely to be done. Whether you belong to this category or this category or this category, somebody has got this breakdown. Redoing everything is critical there. And after that, so what will happen to people is gradually in round two, because you're stronger, you're definitely stronger because these thoughts have got deeper into your head. They've got deeper into your head. So round three पे जब आओगे, so average का round three might be in week 8, week 9. Average का round three might be in week 9. और week 9 में तुम्हारा week 5 का जो chapter था interest, उसका round 2 भी आ रहा है. तो week 9 में तुम ये भी decide कर सकते हो कि नया chapter अभी नहीं कर रहा हूँ. You can take a three week break in weeks 9, 10, 11 to finish round 2 and round 3 of some chapters. So when you come back to this topic again in round 3, you'll see that this percentage of how much you left out will start reducing, because you'll be able to start thinking those questions. Right? Any other process if you use, तो तुम्हारा average chapter में तुम 1500 क्वेश्चन कर लो और एग्जाम में जाके नहीं कर पाओगे. I can guarantee that to you. ये प्रोसेस यूज करोगे, 250 क्वेश्चन खुद से कर लो, 250-300 क्वेश्चन खुद से कर लो, you will be able to close the chapter. You'll be able to close the chapter. And as I said, after closing the chapter, you then go into your next rounds are कि mock test में जो questions are उसको देखते जा रहो. और देखो, I mean, by closing the chapter, one also means this, that when I look at the mock tests and when I look at the previous year questions, as I said, there might be indications here that I need to do more. If I find a lot of questions which I don't understand from that topic in mock tests, or a lot of I am not able to comfortably solve the previous year questions. जो कि ऐसा, I mean, I don't think this will happen. ये हो सकता है कि mock test में you find a lot of new questions. So you might say, okay, just for safety, I'll add a new question back. I'll solve 100 more questions on the topic. So this is the process for any chapter. This is the process of any chapter. Process here for any chapter. Now, this process has to be embellished, and this is also for DILR. The same process for DILR. The only thing in DILR, what changes? I mean, in quants, it was theory, assisted problem solving, and self problem solving. And as I said, you have the option when you come back to a chapter in round 2, you have the option, of course, to redo the theory, reread the theory, watch videos again of the theory. You also have the option of adding more questions to assisted problem solving in round 2. But your main focus is कि जो self problem solving question bank उठाया है, उसको खत्म करना है, second time खत्म करना है. जो question मैं कर चुका हूँ और जो question नहीं किया, उसको मेरे को सोच के try करना है each question 10 minutes again. So what will happen is if round 1 is a 20-hour round, round 2 will be an 8 to 10-hour round. And round 3, because you're doing more of the same, round 3 might just be 6 hours. और एक पॉइंट आएगा यहाँ पे, जैसे week 5, week 6, week 7 से week 8, week 9 से प्रेशर बढ़ने लगा है, because you are doing 3 chapters simultaneously. But if you can take one chapter per week as your new chapter, one new chapter process per week, and इसके लिए मान लो 15 घंटे इसके लिए रखे तुमने और 7-8 घंटे इसके लिए रखे. On a week, you're studying 20 to 23 hours of quants every week. So what happens is there's light at the end of the tunnel, because एक point आएगा 18 week 19 के बाद, you will see that the new chapters have disappeared. Last chapter तुम्हारा week 19, week 20 में आएगा. तो उसके बाद सिर्फ तुमको round to round जो भी टाइम है तुम्हारा week 20 के बाद, whatever time frame you have left, उसमें सिर्फ round 2, round 3, round 4 करना है. Till the point you can say that, okay, now I close this chapter. ठीक है? That's what it is. That's the process. And DILR में the only difference is the same. You pick up a question bank. You pick up a question bank for self problem solving. You take assisted problem solving. That's what we do in our course also. We say कि okay, जैसे मेरे quants CAT के course में at Mindworkzz, I have a 50 must know questions which I have solved for students, along with some chapter wise questions or some basic questions, which is the basic course. So in DILR, we know that there's no theory. So there's no theory teaching, there's no theory learning. Everything that you learn in data and prediction and logical reasoning is from problem solving situations. And as a teacher, I cannot come to you in a class and say कि चलो आज हम maybe I can do that on a Venn diagram, but I cannot really come to you and say कि आज हम लोग DI का basics देख रहे हैं. There's no the DI का theory देख रहे हैं. There's no theory in data and prediction, right? So train मेरी 8 PM पे आने वाली थी और 8:10 पे आई. My train came at 8:10. My train was supposed to come at 8 PM. 10 minutes late है. इसमें क्या theory बताऊं मैं तुमको? There's no theory involved inside this. This is common sense. So there's no theory, but there's a lot to teach. Skill-wise, there's a lot to teach. So the assisted problem solving part, as I said, in 2022 at Mindworkzz for DI and LR, both के लिए, I would be doing more than 100 sets each on the assisted problem solving part. और उसके बाद तुमको अपने क्वेश्चन बैंक में 250-300 सेट करने हैं खुद से. For each of DI and each of LR. So if you start with a 15 set per week target, 15 set a week per target, first 2 months you spend extensively on LR. That's because in your first 2 months you're also doing your quants arithmetic chapters, these ones. So DI is based on the knowledge of these percentage, ratio, proportion, etc. So by the time you are in week 12, let's say, first 2.5 months, week 12 will be approximately 2.5 months, maybe quarter to 3 months. So by the time you're in week 12, LR में suppose 15 to 20 sets per week का तुमने set problem solving उठाया हुआ है. तो LR में by week 20, by week 12, you might be somewhere around 200 sets solved. Then what you do is you put your LR on the back burner and you start going aggressive with your DI. And on data and prediction, you start putting 15-20 sets per week. And LR, you just maintain LR with maybe 4-5 sets a week. After the first 3 months, first 12 weeks. इसके बाद तुम्हारा quants का pressure भी कम होने लगेगा, obviously. So you can add this thing, 5 more sets on LR. And you continue this till week 22-23, till your quants is closing. Week 20, week 22 the quants close करेगा, तब तक ये continue रखो. So by week 22, what happens is you have got an exposure. If you're solving 20 sets a week, you have done around 200 sets of DI, and you have done 200 sets of LR in the first 12 weeks, and you are doing another 50 sets of LR, so you are at 250 plus sets of LR. Right? So just like for quants, my comfort level, if I ask a student, how much have you done self problem solving? He says, okay, I've done 250 and I've done 250 at LOD 1, 2, 3 of averages. I'm pretty comfortable about his level of understanding and ability on that topic. So I'll tell him you can close your ability at this point. So see, there is a DILR का number is 300. 300 is the target. 300 से जिस दिन तुमने self problem solve कर लिया DI का और LR का, and you can do this both from my books. उसके बाद तुम इसको बैक बर्नर पर डाल सकते हो, and then you can say कि okay, let's see what happens in my mocks. Am I comfortable inside the mocks? What is happening on my PVQs? Am I comfortable solving my PVQs? So as you start going deeper into these, you will automatically get an indication. ये जो closure था तुम्हारा, this is outside. This target is outside your mock test. This is before your mock test, so you have to plan this work. ठीक है? There's no non-verbal questions. Reasoning is in CAT is, if you check my LR for CAT book, you will see the first 8 chapters that are given, the 9 chapters, those puzzles and arrangements and all those things. They are that's the portion for reasoning. Reasoning का portion question types में DI का portion is split between traditional DI and logical DI. ठीक है? So you should go for both, even mixed. You should. CAT में easy sets आते हैं कि नहीं आते हैं? इस साल अगर देखोगे इस साल के पेपर में, जहाँ पे DILR was one of the toughest, every set had one bar diagram question. So if you have solved only tough sets, The easy set, which was easy. I think any 9th standard, 10th standard kid who's with intelligence can solve that set. So if you have been only doing tough sets, only doing logical DI and tough sets, when this set comes, you will not have the necessary 7th gear to speed up your solving. So you'll be slowing down because you've not practiced this. So it should be a practice of both. So DI में अगर मैं split करूँ तो of the 300 sets that I'm talking about, maybe 120 to 140 sets of traditional and 160 to 180 sets of logical. This should be your breakdown. और मेरे DI book में I've split the DI book into 3 parts. The first part is traditional DI, the second part is logical DI, and the third part is PYQs, discussion of PYQs and how to solve them. So you have a resource there, and of course you can use other resources also. I typically have reached that point where I don't you tell people मेरी book use करो, I don't need to. I mean, if they are good enough, you'll automatically use them. So that's but curated resource चाहिए तुमको जिसमें तुमको ये मिल जाएगा. तो मेरे book में 2 साल पहले ये change कर दिया था. पहले सब mix थे मेरे sets. ठीक है, but I realized कि CAT में logical DI, traditional DI में जो skill required, they are very different. When I'm solving a question like this, I require a very different skill from solving a question like this. Although दोनों DI है, CAT तो बोलता नहीं है कि logical DI कि traditional DI. CAT बोलता है कि DI अलग section है. तो ये भी DI है, वो भी DI है. 8 बजे ट्रेन आने वाली थी, the train came at 8:10, so it was 10 minutes late, वो भी DI है. Right? So you'll have to focus on both. So the easy starting sets are also important from the ZAT perspective, the IFT perspective, because they are mostly on traditional DI. So this should be your process, right? So I hope this is clear to all of you. This should be a process, and then you plan your questions. You plan your mock tests from April, May onwards. 22 weeks from now is you're starting now. Next batch is starting 20th December. 20 December से next batch start हो रहा है. If you're starting 20th December and let's say you start 1 week before that on your own, so 22 weeks gets over sometime in end of April or early May, mid-May, let's say. So after 22 weeks are over, then it is measurement based or generally एक logic कर सकते हो कि सब चीज का round 2 कर लो. सब चीज का round 2 खत्म ही कर लूं because round 2 is important, and then you say okay, after that I initiate a round 3. All the chapters and all the questions in round 3 will be from what you have done in round 1, round 2. Some chapters you might say, okay, I want to add more questions in this chapter because I don't feel confident about this chapter. Then you pick up another resource and add those questions. And along with round 2, round 3, in May, June, say you start your mock tests. So one of the mistakes people make due to which they don't score in the exam is that they leave the mock test for too late. So don't do that. Give yourself 5-6 months of mock testing experience. Otherwise, you'll be falling short in the exam. Please remember one thing: CAT is not just about ability. Just remember this figure. This is ability. So everybody who are inside this, everybody who's inside this has the ability to create the CAT. So all the work that I'm talking about here is for each one of A, B, C, D, the 4 people I was talking about. For each one of them, the work is basically structured in such a way that they can come into this circle. They belong to the ability circle. Till you're outside the ability circle, you're not going to get CAT. You're not going to be able to solve questions, right? But CAT is not just about ability. CAT has the second circle. So all these people will not qualify. Only people will those people will qualify, who are also inside the performance circle. So only people inside this intersection will qualify. Okay, this is what this is. So not panic giving mock is do this thing. Dekho, I'll answer this question, Rahul's question. How do you not panic giving mock? How do you stop panicking giving mock? So I'll ask you this question in different format. Suppose you were in class 3 and you're giving a maths exam. There was some amount of pressure inside on you, right? On the day of the maths exam? In class 3, yes or no? Ashish's question, how should the rounds be for DLR? DLR rounds में भी यही होगा. When you go through the first 300, when you try the first 300 sets in DLR, some sets हो जाएंगे तुमसे और कुछ set नहीं होंगे, जैसे quants में हुए. There'll be a gap between how many you could solve and how many you could not solve. So second round of DLR is redo these. And when I say redo का मतलब ये नहीं कि हर question को पूरा solve करना है. Question को देख लो, याद आ रहा है कैसे करना है तो मत करो. Don't solve for the answer. Solve for the process, solve for the flow chart. ठीक है, तो राउंड 2 में क्या करोगे, इसका फ्लो चार्टिंग करोगे, इनको ट्राई करोगे फिर से, and you get closer. See, there's always a gap between number of questions or number of sets seen and solved. So when solved gets close to seen, that's when you are closing your circle, your preparation cycle. And this is on the self problem solving mode. As I said, I go to a weightlifting training this thing, and I'm training for a weightlifting championship, and I'm not able to lift more than 50 kgs. So I can't ask the coach, you give me a hand and we'll lift it together, because on the D day, on the exam day, on the day of the competition, I'll be supposed to lift it myself. So the solution only comes if I'm not able to lift 100 kgs and I want to lift 100 kgs. So I have to go back, work on myself, get stronger and come back. So once I do that cycle, हो सकता है 50 के बदले में 70 उठा लो. I'll still be below what I need to do. So then I go back, get stronger and come back. This is what the rounds mean. This might get me to 90. Then I might want to go back, get stronger, and that is what will get me to 100. And once I reach 100, then I start thinking, why not 120, why not 130? Let's go back and do one more round and come back stronger. ठीक है? नहीं, April तक you will not be able to complete 3 rounds. April तक you should complete 1 round and second round of some chapters per sure. Maybe half the portion you can do second round, but most of the portion you can follow this path. ठीक है? So as I said, Sahil was asking, as I said, when you start your DI after around the 11th, 12th week of your preparation, when you start your DI, during that time don't just leave DLR. पूरा छोड़ो मत. Keep a 5-set target per week. ठीक है? Right? Yeah. So our online classes on Mindworkzz. You will get contacted. All those of you who joined today will get contacted by our counselors tomorrow, day after. They will give you some offers to join our CAT 22 course. The next batch is starting on 20th December. So I'll come back to this question. How do you not panic? Class 3 maths reason कर रहे थे. Class 3, maybe you will not remember it so well, but if you can look at a student who's going for his maths exam in class 3, थोड़ा टेंशन तो रहता है ना उसको. The third round typically should be if you finish your first round in April, second round should be by May, June. Third round can be by July or August, so that you have enough time. If you need fourth round on some chapters, you'll have it. So just answer this question. I'm answering a very important question. Class 3 maths exam के दिन थोड़ा टेंशन था कि नहीं, रहेगा कि नहीं? किसी स्टूडेंट को अगर उसको साइक अप कर दो कि इंपॉर्टेंट है तुम्हारे लिए कि तुम आज अच्छा परफॉर्म करो, तो will you have a little bit of pressure or not? Yes, no, what? I'm coming to your question, Shubham. Right? So class 3 का maths paper, you know what class 3 का maths paper is there in school? है ना? I'll explain the syllabus logic, Pulkit. I'll explain the syllabus logic. So class 3 का maths paper, you know what it is? So ये जो बच्चा है, let's say this person is a student called X. तो इस क्वेश्चन पेपर के लिए क्या वो जिंदगी भर टेंस रहेगा? He's, let's say in class 3, he's 7 years old, 8 years old. So by the time he becomes 12 years old, and you send him to an exam, this is the exam paper, solve this. This is what I'm going to ask you today. Will there be tension? Will there be tension in his mind? Why? Because for that level of questioning, he's crossed the threshold ability. In that level of this thing, he's crossed the threshold of ability. This is the reason there's no pressure on that day. So at these classes, now let me just explain this. Somebody was asking on the YouTube channel also, and that's a misconception actually, that I don't teach or I don't take classes, live classes. Just wanted to explain how it works. Let's just say, let's first focus on offline classes versus online. If you join an offline class, typically you get a 20 week program, 18 to 20 week program, and some classes will teach you 6 to 8 hours a week, 8-9 hours a week, maybe 9 hours per week, let's say. And in an offline course, 18-20 weeks with a 9-hour week, 9 hours per week completes the portion, right? You know this number. Tomorrow seniors, your elder brother, sister must have done coaching somewhere. You agree to this number? Is this the reality of an offline course? Yes, no. 20 weeks, 9 hours per week is the regular class, and then you're put into a batch which is taking tests and taking tests and coming back to the teachers for doubts, etc. Yes, no. Which means the portion coverage is, yeah, your question, all questions are visible. Derek, I can see your question, although I've not seen your question coming. All 300 from same LOD? No, it should be a mix of LOD, Derek. So that means an offline course is 180 hours. Right? See, the logic of that Pasha third class, how to maintain cool, is you'll take your ability much above the required ability. If your ability is here and the required ability is here, there will be no pressure. So that's the answer. So your preparation, as far as you prepare only to cross this ability required level, which is why again multiple rounds becomes important. अगर तुम यहीं तक पहुंच पाते हो, तो एग्जाम में प्रेशर रहेगा. Which is why if you do your multiple rounds after reaching this point and you're ready to do a couple of points, your ability goes much above the required ability. So coming back to the course, now at the Mindworkzz course, in the Mindworkzz course, you have around 300 hours of classes by me. Now just compare this timeline with this timeline. So 300 hours, if I'm doing digital classes, I should be able to cover all the portions that they teach you in an offline course by myself. Yes or no? Yeah. So this is, and the answer to the question is that, do we have my classes or do we have a lot of teachers teaching at Mindworkzz? So this is sufficient, and then you've got maybe around 100 hours of content from Meenakshi ma'am, 100 plus hours of content from Meenakshi ma'am, who takes the verbal part. मेरे क्लासेस में तुमको क्वांट भी मिलेगा, verbal भी मिलेगा, DI भी मिलेगा, LR भी मिलेगा, because 300 hours is enough to cover all the 4 areas. And what we do is, in these 300 hours, This is a mix of live and also pre-recorded classes. Now, pre-recorded classes are different from recordings of live classes. Pre-recorded classes, I want to teach you a concept of syllogism. I create a lecture for it and I record it in a studio. This is different from I'm taking a class. जैसे ये वाला class अभी हम ले रहे हैं तुमसे बात करते हुए तुम लोग से. So this we'll put it on YouTube. That will be a recording of the live class. So in a pre-recorded class, you normally cover, and as a teacher I can tell you this. If I take a 2-hour live class, it takes me 45 minutes to cover that concept in a pre-recorded class, because I'm not talking to people, I'm not wasting time of everybody. I'm just focused on the content and passing it around to you. Right? And since we are teaching the same thing again and again, we know किस point पे doubt आता है लोगों को. कोई भी topic में पढ़ा रहा हूँ तो I know at what point that doubt comes. So you got 300 hours of not just live classes. It's a mix of so the worth of this 300 hours is around 500 hours of classes, if you are compared to an offline coaching. Now on top of that, as I said, we don't decide कि हम लोग तुमको assisted problem solving topic में 25 question ही देंगे और उतने में नहीं हुआ तो तुम्हारा नहीं होगा. So that's why we have multiple other teachers on every topic, on every area. At least 3 or 4 more teachers on every area. So quants may have got these teachers. DI may we have got these teachers. While doing this, I know that a lot of people, some people, not a lot of people, but 10-20% people expect that for them life is very important. The teacher should be on the other end to solve my doubt, specifically the weaker learners. So we have that for them. You've got Anit Suri sir, who's a 100 percentiler in CAT quants. You've got Anit Suri sir, you've got Mahengraj Singh sir, who's a IMT Ghaziabad graduate and been teaching for 15-17 years in quants. You've got Meenakshi Sharma sir, who's an ex-time faculty and 20 years almost teaching experience. You have Saeed Khan sir, who's got a 10-12 years teaching experience, starting with us, also taught at CL and time. So you got these people. DI ke liye you got similar team. LR ke liye you got a similar team. So we don't want to stop you. Anytime, suppose there's a student during, I mean, we have a whole group of students, whatever number, and there is a student who requires maybe 15 June के आसपास he requires कि मेरे को ये topic पढ़ना है फिर से. We have these running all the time. We just run this not as a course, we run this as a channel. Every teacher keeps coming and performing his modules. So average का portion, average तुमको पढ़ना है तो यहाँ भी मिल जाएगा तुमको और ये सब teachers के classes में मिल जाएगा तुमको. So we want to cover it 5 times because for us it's part of the delivery, and this component is maybe 1,000 hours more. And we tell people if you want to cover live, choose the teacher and just follow him and cover it live with him. वो भी कर सकते हो. So all these are available. Now on top of that, this year for CAT 22, since we have just launched my app, the Arun Sharma Academy, a couple of months ago. On that app, we are launching starting on 7 January. On the Arun Sharma Academy app, we are launching starting on 7 January a course which is a general aptitude course. This course is for CAT aspirant. It's like a primer course to this whole program. And this general aptitude course is around 80 plus hours of live classes, which is mostly taken by me or Meenakshi Upadhyay. She's doing the English part, I'm doing the quants and DI part, quants and LR part. So इसमें quants, LR, and this course is basically for people going for slightly lower exams. But for the weaker students in CAT, we realize that this course is very important because the question bank I'll be dealing with will be different from my quants book. So you'll get 2 versions of the same chapter one with the quants book questions and the other with this new set of questions here. So isme again this course is a mix. This course is targeted towards CSAT aspirants. This course is targeted towards IP-MAT aspirants. This course is targeted towards Maharashtra CET aspirants. So obviously the teaching style and teaching perspective will be for people who need a lot of handholding. It's more like maths tuitions for the CAT crowd. We are calling this the L1 aptitude course. For CAT aspirant, we're calling it the L1 aptitude course. And what we're doing is, if you join the Mindworkzz program, there is going to be an app access charge of 999 rupees for the app access charge. And in that app access charge, this course, by the way, we are launching at around 15K. That's going to be the price of this. A lot of people have been asking me to do something on CSAT and IP-MAT and Maharashtra CET, etc. So this is going to be a full service on all those this thing. So people who take up the app or take the app access, they are going to get this course free of cost. For this 999 rupees for app access, this course is part of it. You're going to get this whole program live, in which you got around 75. Apart from the live hours I do here, this will be a separate live hours because I have to do it for my students of these courses. So we are just offering it to the CAT aspirants of 22. This will be an additional listing. And typically the classes of this will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be weekend 5 to 6, 5 to 7 kind of time frame. So that's what this is going to be. So this is that question should not arise. And of course, for all Mindworkzz students, as I always tell them, I am your 24/7 mentor. You can call me anytime. The open invitation to all students is always you want to talk to me. You don't need to take appointments. Leave a missed call. I call back. That's what it is. Okay. So that's what it is. So any other questions here? It was supposed to be a 6 to 7 webinar, but I entered late. So I entered 6:30. So to be fair to you, I have to give my time. Ashish's question: 3 months preparation, I scored 31 in CAT 21. तुम्हारा ability शायद देखो, when you talk about a CAT 21 score, if you talk about CAT 21 score, it's a measure of your ability and also your performance. So is your ability 31 or is your ability more than that? That's first question you'll ask yourself. And you don't need to stress yourself. Put your head down, start working in the direction required, and you will automatically get outcomes there. Derek is asking me. How does CAT calculate percentage for this diploma instead of 12th? I think it will be only 12th. Only 12th का रहेगा. जो तुम्हारे marksheet में जो लिखा रहेगा वही रहेगा. So you'll have to check your marksheet. ठीक है? Shubham's question: scored 60 in slot 1 CAT 21. Started preparation Jan 21, but due to some family reasons, I was not able to study from May to September. 23.5 years. You can take the CAT. 23.5 is not too late for taking it. ठीक है? Harsha Vardhan asked me, commerce student, could you tell me how to build fundamentals? Fundamentals building के लिए you have to break down questions into subparts. देखो quants ALR में क्या होना पड़ता है? The theory is very disconnected from the problem solving. So problem solving में क्या करना है वो सीखना होगा. So you will see. अब जैसे I'll give you a small example of how things don't work or how math should be taught. अब average की बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग या time speed distance की बात करते हैं. So our classes start this way: 3 variables in the time speed distance chapter, and the basic equation of speed and time speed distance is speed into time equals distance. Right? Every class will start like this. You go to any institute, they'll teach you this. Okay? But this is where our content starts different. So how do you use this formula? So our videos will start going into this. How do you use this formula? So this formula has 3 ways of using it. And this formula has 3 versions. In a situation, if I'm given speed and time, I should be able to find the distance. In a situation where I'm given speed and distance, the formula mutates to distance by speed is equal to time. So if I'm given these two, I should be able to find this. And the third way this equation is used, if I'm given distance and time. So no math book will tell you this about in a time speed distance chapter. No math book tells you this. So you have people. A man travels at 40 kilometers per hour for 5 hours. This is version 1 of the formula. The outcome is D. A man travels 200 kilometers at 40 kilometers per hour. These will be triggers that will be embedded inside TSD questions. And if this is not embedded inside your mind, if this is given to me, this comes out. If this is not embedded, I'll always be weak at handling time speed distance questions. Unfortunately, no maths book and most courses don't bridge this gap by telling you कि जब ये दिया होगा तो training in maths is this. ये दिया होगा तो ये करना है. Right? And this is the trigger and this is the reaction. And maths is about 2000 triggers and the reactions. Okay. So what we do, Arun is asking me this question: do we have a repeaters batch, etc. So what we do is when you join Mindworkzz, we give you the you can of course come in and talk to the counselors about with your CAT scorecard or your CAT answer sheet given to us. See, this is what I'm scoring. So we can cross verify that and give you a discount for a repeaters batch. But what we do is ये जो हमारे course में we do give you the full portion, the full portion through pre-recorded videos, and you get that in week 1. It is not like कि 10 week के बाद ये वाला खुलेगा. So in week 1 you get the average chapter also, and you get the permutation combination chapter also. Everything, all the core videos are pre-recorded. So you get all this in week 1 when you join. So for repeaters, what we say is that the path through which you are doing it, because this will be round. I mean, when you start the first round of when people are going for CAT 22 for the first time, they are doing round 1 of their preparation. You are doing round 3 at that time. So you should not be spending more than 3 days per chapter. And what you should be doing in the chapter will be different from what they are doing in the chapter, because this is going to be round 3 for you. So you will use round 3, round 4, round 5, because they are starting from round 1, 2, 3. You will talk about round 3, round 4, round 5 if you're a repeater. So that's the difference. And of course, we have classes, as I said, that our live classes are more like a channel. We don't do it batch wise. 20 दिसंबर के बैच को ये लाइव क्लास उनके साथ होना है. उसका बहुत बड़ा एडवांटेज है. क्या होता है एडवांटेज कि because every class is available to everybody, so people who are joining on 20th December, they will have an average basic class available to them in August next year also, if they need it. So it's there. The availability in live, average basic class live will be happening in August 22 also, because there will be people joining here for CAT 22 for us. Maybe people are joining in June, तो उनको भी हम लोग सर्विस करेंगे वहाँ पे. Anubhav says, how to keep yourself motivated during this 50-week journey? Simple logic है. एक अपने रूम में एक वॉल खोज लो और वहां पे एक मारुति 800 गाड़ी लगा दो या मारुति ऑल्टो गाड़ी का फोटो लगा दो एक साइड पे, और दूसरे साइड पे वो मर्सिडीज की 1 करोड़ की जो गाड़ी है उसका फोटो लगा दो. This will be accessible to you only if you get to a 25-30 lakh package by the time you are 25, 26, 27. If you start here in 10 years time, you will hit a crore plus salary, 10, 12 years time. And if you can reach that point, this is accessible. at your 3 lakh, 4 lakh, 5 lakh package with the glass ceiling on top, even if your package is 8 lakhs, but you are only a graduate or a graduate from a second level B school, there'll always be a glass ceiling at the top, which will not allow you to go to the top. So you're not never going to hit these packages. So it's not just the loss that you have at the starting of your career, it's the loss across a 25-year career, which you have to calculate. और वो करोगे तो फिर motivation की दिक्कत नहीं होगी. ठीक है, चलो. Rahul is asking after how many rounds? Third round में solution देखना start कर सकते हो. एक ट्रिगर थर्ड राउंड होता है, दूसरा ट्रिगर होता है कि 5% क्वेश्चन बच गए तो उसका सॉल्यूशन देख लेंगे. ठीक है. आयुष इज आस्किंग शुड आई ट्राई विद ट्रेडिशनल मेथड्स और शॉर्टकट्स. जितने शॉर्टकट्स दिमाग में आते हो करो. शॉर्टकट्स तो मेरे को अभी भी नए मिलते रहता है. So that will happen. Yeah, the syllabus will start from beginning for all students. You'll be told how to navigate the program on 20th December. So should you take up a job or this thing? That's something you can take up a job till July. जुलाई के बाद जॉब छोड़ देना. अगर मैनेज कर सकते हो. नहीं मैनेज कर सकते हो तो कुछ कोर्सेज कर लेना. We'll come up with some this thing. Mocks from April, May. If you're a repeater, then mocks from January, February only. Yes. ठीक है. चलो. So I'll stop here. Thank you so much for attending, and we will see you again very soon, and we'll be having more of these sessions. Maybe I'll do a more detailed session on DILR soon. ठीक है. So I'll see you there in those sessions. CAT 23, you can join a coaching now. CAT 23 का प्रोसेस ये रहेगा कि पहले CAT 22 के साथ पूरा प्रिपेयर करो ताकि CAT 23 तुम्हारे लिए रिपीटर बैच हो जाए. ठीक है. चलो. Profile building के लिए we'll do some videos. Self study can be sufficient, but it depends on how much you can teach yourself and learn. ठीक है. Fees and all you can talk to there'll be a link. They'll talk to you. The counselors will call you up by tomorrow. They'll send you the fees, etc. मेरे को खुद फीस याद नहीं रहता है क्या फीस ये लोग रखते रहते हैं. But I dissociate myself from the sales team because my work is the academic part, so I focus only on that part in Mindworkzz. Chalo, thank you so much. We run like a corporate. We don't run like a mom and pop shop. Chalo, thank you so much. Bye bye. I've given the tips. The logic is given that you might need 2 rounds more extra if you're weak. Get stronger and come back to it. Bye bye.